Joe, I was going to start with you. The movie, I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, and it reminded me of those kind of like Seduced by the Devil movies that were really popular for some reason in the 90s and 2000s. And so it's cool to kind of see that in a modern setting. And so for you, what was it that like made you want to tell a story and inspired you to kind of dive into that kind of horror?
Well, body swap movies have been such a trope for years. See, I grew up in the 80s where most body swap movies were like the fun, funny ones where it's like, let's take George Burns and some kid and swap them together. It's like 18 again, coming on Friday. But most of those tropes were usually done in a humorous sense. And in the past couple of years, body swapping movies have almost become a subgenre in a way, but never quite like this, and never in a world that I've always been so fascinated with, and not just Lovecraft, but also the world that Stuart Gordon and Dennis Paoli and Brian Musna and Barbara Crampton had established back in the 80s with this kind of Miskatonic verse. So to be able to take all of those elements, it's like this delicious bowl that I just got at Sweetgreens that had all these different elements, and I got to mix them up together and make it into something akin to all the types of movies that I loved growing up, that were mixing genres, mixing tones. And when you take a perfectly, nuanced script that Dennis did, translating Lovecraft, which is not very easy, but do it in a way that like allowed you to go, oh, it's a body swap movie. Wait a second, hold on. It's a body horror movie. Oh, wait, hold on a second. It's a neo-noir film. Wait, hold on. It's an erotica film from the 90s. It had a little bit of everything that we were able to harness and be able to kind of shape together, hopefully in a very entertaining and in a provocative way.
Yeah, and I think too, Heather, it is really kind of apt that I watched this horror movie because one of my favorite like New York stories is one Halloween, I was getting off of a train at Bedford Avenue and you were getting on, but it was like Halloween. So I did like this and then it was way too late. But I told my whole family, I was like, I think I just saw Heather Graham getting off of the train. But it is so cool to kind of see you like dig into the horror genre, and especially this where you get to play so many, they're not different characters, but they are.
Yeah, I feel like I've never gotten to play like this kind of demonic entity. It's really fun. Like as a woman, I don't feel like you don't get as many opportunities to play the villain or, this kind of like a powerful villain. So it is really just like freeing to get to play like the evil person.
Yeah, but what was kind of your approach in like breaking down each of the kind of personalities, as it were, like as the people kind of took over her body? Did you have any kind of like, yes, here's my breakdown of what this person does versus how she would be?
Well, with my Elizabeth Derby, I did make up a whole backstory and memories and a life and everything like that. With the entity, I was going off of, we did a reading and just the essence of the entity in the script, what Judah was doing, what Bruce was doing, and just this idea of somebody who just can't die. So their life is just about kind of dominating, controlling sex, using people, kind of just like always knowing you're the most powerful person in the room, which, people don't get to feel that way very often. So it's kind of like an interesting thing. And then with the Barbara character, I tried to watch Barbara. Luckily, I didn't have to do that until later on in the shoot. But just Barbara was very sort of like her character. I saw you as being very in control and intelligent and just like kind of strong. And I don't know, that's how you're caring, but you're a very like, I am in control and I am a doctor. I tried to just kind of take some essence of what you were doing.
Yeah. And Barbara, I was going to ask you next. It is so interesting to kind of see how like these two women are trying to like understand each other, especially towards the end where it's like, oh, well, like I'm here to listen to you, but why didn't you just come to me? And when you are kind of back in this body swap genre and like in a horror sphere, what was the most exciting thing for you about like that kind of character who she doesn't instantly dismiss Elizabeth's problems? Like she's like, I was listening to you, but you should have come and like talked to me more. Like what is kind of exciting to like dig into that?
I think it mirrored what happened between Heather and Judah's character, because Judah's character, comes to Heather and says, I'm in trouble and something's happening to me. And it seems so unbelievable that she doesn't quite believe it. And she thinks it's something else. She thinks it's multiple personality disorder, or, there's something wrong, inside himself. that he hasn't actually processed yet. Maybe something happened in his past or with his father. And then all these things happen, and it's almost, she realizes it, Dr. Derby realizes it almost too late. Then she tries to tell me what's going on. And because I'm seeing it through my own lens of what I believe to be true in the world, I don't believe her either. So it's really what Lovecraft is all about. Lovecraft is cosmic horror, and it's about things in life that you see, but you can't control, that you don't completely understand. And that's really what this movie is about. There's things that are bigger than us that happen that we just don't have any control over. And we try to, but we just can't.
Yeah, and Judah, your character is obviously like kind of terrifying because he is the catalyst of everything. And like the scene when you're kind of locked up in the basement pretending to be Heather Graham, top tier. Like I was like, oh, look at him being Heather Graham. This is so cool.
Yeah.
But for you, what is about horror as a genre? What is so like kind of appealing to you? Because this is what is this your second horror movie?
I've done quite a few. Yes. Yeah. I think for me, each time it's really mostly about the character. You know, it's about finding characters that I resonate with or that I think are going to be a challenge to take on. And I think that one definitely fit in the challenge bracket. Yeah, and I also think that like there's something about doing a horror film. It's so demanding, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, and there's something really fun about taking that on. As far as the basement scene, that was one of my favorite days. It was how many setups did we do that day, Joe?
107.
Really? Wow.
One of the most impressive things I've ever seen a director pull off. 107 setups. And
it wasn't, believe me, it wasn't by choice. It was, how many pages do we have? We have to lose this location tomorrow. Let's go. That was it. You know, necessity breeds invention a lot of times.
Yep. Yeah, but I think I don't know. As far as getting into Heather's character, I think it was, for one, spending time with her beforehand, seeing what she was doing during the read through, you know, watching her, and then just trying to live up to that because she's incredible.
That is true. And Jonathan, so congrats on being you know, one of the good men in a horror genre. He's just like a husband who just kind of like, I don't know what's going on with my wife. Well, you cheated on me, not right now, and then is still kind of like trying to be a good guy. And so when you are playing kind of he's not like a side character to the main story, but he is still kind of lived in, and we understand his relationship to his wife and who he is. What is the joy of like finding like little moments to be like, yes, here's who this guy is?
Yeah, you know, taking that marriage that's stable and comfortable, and then throwing in the mix of, you know, role swap, gender swap, you know, like what was coming next. And Heather, when she would turn on this other entity or this other character, and she came forward, it was a little bit of Jonathan going, oh, whoa, okay, that's great. Okay, hold on, you know, so it was a lot of fun. It was like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I think it's such a fun kind of movie in general, just because I feel like we have ventured away from this kind of genre. And so for all of you, really quickly, what is like, if you had to describe it in one word for fans who are excited to kind of finally see it, how would you describe it? Joe, if you want to start, just go around really quickly.
Lovecraftian neoerotica.
I would
Done.
say Lovecraftian thrill ride.
Oh,
Twisted?
love it. Judah,
Gritty.
Jonathan? Oh, gritty. Good.
Sexy and fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for people to get to see it. I think it's such a fun return to that genre and those movies, and it was great.
Thank you.
Good luck with
you.
the Tonys
Thank
tonight.
you.
Yes,
Thanks.
enjoy the Tonys.
Thanks.
fun.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.